Welcome to Edge of Illumination, Renee Mija Unfiltered. I want to talk about a phenomenon I've been noticing among a lot of women who they were in a relationship that was narcissistic or one where they were treated really badly by a partner. And as a result, they're going into a different space where it's like hyper boundaries. They're not only protecting themselves in terms of protecting their peace, but they also are getting to a point where they're not allowing anyone else in, where they are hardening their hearts, where they are becoming cold. When you take this approach where you're allowing your heart to become cold, where you're no longer interacting with love and with warmth, you essentially are saying they have won. A lot of these women are artists. At some point, they were into something that was very creative. They had a lot of love in their heart to give. They were very spiritual, connected. And when they allow these people to have that effect on them, where they are just going to become ice cold, detached, unemotional, they are literally cutting themselves off from their power source. The heart has so much power and so much energy and generates so much creativity that when you allow someone to get you to disconnect from that place, you are basically letting them cut you off from your power center. This is huge. I don't believe in going through and allowing someone to repeat the same behavior or going back into relationships with the same mindset. Some have talked about how they used to feel like they need to be the good girl and they need to be a person who is extending of themselves and giving of themselves. But after what happened, they realized it was all a lie. That society in general doesn't really reward those things. In a lot of ways, they are not wrong. What we have learned in sociology, in psychology, and anthropology and more is the system operates very differently for different people. So if you're in the United States and you come from certain backgrounds, you may experience a very different set of circumstances than other people. There are so many issues at play that create these circumstances with society, culturally, but in general, I know that things are not fair. For one woman, she can be rude, mean, disrespectful to a man, and vice versa. A man could be like that towards a woman, and they get love and they get admiration and they get treated really, really well by their partners. And then another person could come along and be the best partner anyone ever imagined, and they're mistreated. And it's not fair. But instead of going through and hardening your heart and closing off and becoming cold, another tactic is to set your boundaries to where you decide what you will and will not tolerate. Maybe you're not going to tolerate any longer someone who tries to ghost you or pushes you around or blows you off or doesn't make time for you. Maybe you're not going to accept that anymore. Maybe it's your way or the highway. Maybe if the person is not willing to go the extra mile, you don't give them the time of day. And you're okay with that. That's a good place to be in my opinion. However, going through and becoming cold and detached and emotionally removed and losing that part of yourself basically means the people who did those negative things won. Not only did they win, but they have gotten you to disconnect from something that you have had since you were a child, which is your heart space, which is your inner child, positive joy and happiness. One of the reasons why I'm a little wary about relationships at times and the idea of people rushing into relationships is I believe that that place should be protected with the utmost importance. Guarding your heart, making sure that you keep yourself feeling light, feeling happy, feeling good on the inside is super important. And in my opinion, no man and no person is worth getting yourself to a point where you lose that connection. I know for myself, I'm not doing heartbreak anymore. I'm not doing heartbreak at all. So if I'm dealing with someone and I don't like how they're making me feel, or if I don't feel like they're treating me the way that I want to be treated, they're gone. It's a non-negotiable. I wouldn't let it build up to the point to where I'm worried about who are they with, or do they still like me, or that point of confusion. And for a lot of people, it's about trying to win the person's love. I think so many women fall into the pitfall and the trap of thinking, if I just show the person how good I am, how I can cook, how I can clean, how I'm a nice person, how I'm loyal, how I'm faithful, then they will love me and appreciate me. But a lot of times it's the exact opposite. The other thing right now is a lot of women want to go for high valued men, or men that have a lot of money, a lot of resources. I have dated incredibly rich men before. In fact, those are the ones that I tend to have the most success with. But at the same time, I broke it off with all of them pretty early on because I wasn't interested in them. And the money that they had and the resources that they had was not enough to lure me into wanting to be in a deeper commitment with them. But what I can say about a lot of those guys is, if a woman is a bag chaser and that's what she's looking for are his resources, are what he can provide and what he can do for her, that's 100% what they are not attracted to. Because if a woman is not swayed by that and she doesn't care about his money or what he has because she's doing fine by herself or she's comfortable by herself, what happens is they see it as, if she likes him, then she must be the real deal and that she's a catch, because typically they can go out and get tons of women who are going to want them to pay for trips and pay for bags and pay for purses. I dated one guy who was super rich who offered to do all kinds of really extravagant things for me, and every single time I turned it down because I didn't feel like dealing with it. But that made him like me more. That made him pursue me more. That was not my intention. But this guy was so serious, he was even talking about us getting married and starting a family together. With that being said, nothing is worth the time and energy that you will lose being around people that do not bring you joy and fulfillment. And if you're in a relationship, any kind of relationship, and you find that you're feeling sad, or that you feel drained, or you feel tired and you're not happy with how things are going, that is a sign you're better to be out of it. Personally, relationships are just kind of like whatever to me. It's the last thing I think about. The other big thing I want to talk about regarding this is when it comes to general people. One thing I have learned is, if people do not like you, they do not like you. It doesn't matter if you're extra nice to them, if you're super friendly to them, if you show them that you're a good person, they do not like you. Even if you go through and you're the type of person that buys things for them, that does really kind things to show them that you're considerate, if they don't like you, they don't like you. And the worst thing that could happen is they end up finding someone who they do like for the wrong reasons. It could be because that person knows certain people or has a certain look or whatever that they resonate with, that they want to be around. And that person can treat them like dirt. And they will put that person on a pedestal, want to hang out with them all the time, and give them all of the love and affection and appreciation that they really should be showing you. And that is a super painful lesson to learn. But the reality is, if someone doesn't like you, they don't like you. And there's such a freedom when you lift that weight of just knowing they don't like me, there's nothing I can do. It doesn't matter how much you smile to them. It doesn't matter how friendly you are to them. They don't like you. And when you accept that, there's a certain freedom that lifts from you, because then you realize it's not about how you are. It's about how they choose to want to perceive you. And a lot of times people will choose to want to perceive you a certain way over the most shallow, ridiculous reasons. It could be because they just like people that are light skinned. They just like blondes. They like people that are dark skinned. They like people that have their makeup a certain way, or that don't wear makeup, or go to the same church as them, or don't go to church, or like, there are all kinds of reasons. But especially if you're someone who is very attractive, if you're someone who is very intelligent and creative, there are going to be a lot of people that just do not like you. And there's nothing you can do about it. In fact, if you show them that you are a really good person and that you're really nice and that you're super great, they will actually dislike you more. Last but not least, I want to talk about another phenomenon that ties into what we were talking about earlier. If you are with someone in a relationship that wants to mistreat you, that has bad intentions for you, and you show them that you are a really good person and that you do not deserve that behavior, they may actually retaliate by trying to provoke you into negative behaviors in order to say, see, that's why I was the way I was towards them. Because if they wanted to mistreat you and it turns out that you're a really nice person, that you're a good person and you deserve more, that's not a good look for them. Now they feel like they're a terrible person and they don't want to have that aesthetic or that appearance. So as a result, not only will they typically gossip about you, they may do a smear campaign against you or make up things about you. They may go as far as trying to provoke you into certain behaviors so they can showcase that and make it look like you're somebody that you're not. This can happen as well. This is why it's so important to be super cautious about hanging out with people who actually really like you, who have your best interest at heart. And the good news is, if it takes a while, that's fine. There are many times where you might be going out with someone and you might think, oh, if I was just in a relationship with this person, everything would be perfect, everything would be great. And then you get into that relationship and it's terrible and you feel horrible. Hopefully this helps. Do not harden your heart. Do not become cold. Do not become detached, removed, or distant, but instead just set really firm boundaries as far as what you will take, what you won't take. And if someone is making you feel bad or they're making you feel less attractive or less valuable, completely cut that person off. As soon as you see a sign that something is off and you feel that feeling of, I don't feel good about this, that's usually an indicator of things to come. Especially if you're dealing with someone who is a potential cheater or a manipulator. Oftentimes they'll do stuff at the very beginning of the relationship, even from the first day, where things will just feel off, where you'll know that this person does not have the best intentions or just something feels weird. That is a huge indicator of things to come. If you like this video, please hit the like button. And if you have any questions, I'll be doing a live stream pretty soon. And until next time, talk to you later.